All right, so I got a rock chip on my brand new 2019 Corvette Stingray, and I did what I feel like probably anybody does when they're considering doing, fixing it themselves. Is I looked on YouTube to try and find videos, the best way to do it. I found a few, but none crazy helpful. So I figured I'd make my own, and take kind of the good and the bad from the videos that I saw, using the AC Delco paint pen. So I'm a new Corvette owner and I've never done anything like this before, so we'll see for better or worse how this turns out. So this is the paint pen here. It comes in this box. Take it out. It's got this hard tip here, I guess, for scraping paint and making it nice and even before you paint, and then if you take this off, it's got the actual pen portion of it right there if you want to do like fine work, and then if you unscrew this, it's got the actual paint pen color match there, or I'm sorry, the brush, for a little bit bigger scratches. And then if you unscrew this, which I'm not going to do right now because I'm not sure which way it goes, but you unscrew this and it's got the finishing coat on there. So videos that I saw, I saw one where you use that fine point and then one where you use the brush. The brush, I'm going to use the fine point. You'll see why in a second. It's just a real small speck, but the brush to me and the video made it look like it kind of bubbled and was really uneven and ended up looking pretty nasty. So hopefully this fine point pen will do the trick. This is the actual chip right here, and you see it's located right there on the passenger side corner of the hood. I mean, it's not that big. I mean, you see it there compared to my finger, but obviously brand new car and Corvette, I mean, it just breaks my heart. So I'm gonna do my best to try and see if I can make that disappear before I get the ceramic coating put on, which I'll do another video on that. The instructions and all the videos I saw recommended cleaning the surface with rubbing alcohol. I've also got some paper towels so you don't have any lint or anything like that, to make sure you got the surface nice and clean before you do it. We're just gonna see how this goes. I'm a little bit worried, obviously, just haven't done this before, but the alternative was obviously getting the whole, getting a professional to do it, and they're going to recommend painting the whole hood, which is going to cost, I don't even want to guess how much. This pen only cost, I think, with shipping, something like, I think it was like $24, and with shipping, I think it came out to like $27. I went to the Chevy dealership. I used the VIN number to match the color, so you know that you're getting the right color. So I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, and with such a small spot, even if I seriously jack this up, I mean, I think it'll be worth it, but hopefully it doesn't turn out too bad. So yeah, let's get started. All right, first I'm going to clean the surface. I'm just going to pour it directly on the paper towel here. Just do a little bit on the corner here. I mean, again, it's a small spot, so I don't think it's going to take any huge amount of cleaning. I'll try and clean it as best I can. It's drying pretty quickly. I mean, it's warm out here. Obviously rubbing alcohol, so. And then bring this over it. Make sure there's no debris or anything like that on there. Luckily, it's a pretty clean chip, so I don't think I'm gonna need to use the tip of the pen to do any scraping. I think I'm mostly just gonna need to fill it in with the pen itself. All right, biggest thing is you want to make sure you shake it before you use it to make sure it's nice and mixed. It's got one of those little balls in it, you can hear. So I shook it for a good like 3 minutes. This little piece on here that was protecting it just slid right off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test it on the box that it came in first, so that I can kind of see what rate it's gonna come out at, and instead of just splashing it all over my vet. So we're gonna see how this goes. All right, so get it in camera here. Okay, yeah, see, I'm glad I did that because you can see a lot came out. And it's, just like those markers you use in school, you press down and the paint comes out. So let's try that again and see if we can make it a little bit smaller. I mean, this is not a hard surface, so. All right, so that's that's probably right about what I'm looking at right there, what I'm looking for. So, all right, here we go. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna wipe this off and then go. All right, before I went in, I went ahead and wiped this tip off. That was one of the really helpful tips I saw in there, is that to keep that tip dry, because this paint apparently dries really fast. So, all right, I'm left-handed, so I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this, but here we go. Okay, so I just dabbed it and I'm kind of dragging it across instead of dabbing it again, so that it doesn't have any huge distortions. And I got a really great tip from Leo, who owns Leo's Corvettes here in Pensacola, Florida, that a lot of people, apparently they kind of rush it and just glob it on, and it ends up looking really crappy. So what he recommended was that, yeah, I'm gonna wipe it off here, that you do a bunch of little coats and, you know, just kind of repeat until it's even with the paint instead of just globbing it on. So you could see, obviously you can clearly see, hang on, let me get this off here. You can clearly see that it's still very visible, but I did focus here. I did a very, very light coat there, and it's still below the paint. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. It says to let it sit for 30 minutes. So I'm just gonna keep doing that until it's even with the paint, and then hopefully that gives me a better product. So we'll see what the end result is. All right, I know I said I was gonna wait 30 minutes, but I actually waited about 20 minutes. It's pretty warm out here, plus it dried almost immediately on this paper towel, and you could tell just by touching it that it's dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe it again real quick, make sure that no dust or anything like that collected on there. I realized you couldn't see it in the last video of what I was doing, so hopefully this is a better angle and you'll be able to actually see what I'm doing. But I know the sun's glaring a little bit, so I'm just gonna lightly press on here until some paint comes out. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna drag it around the spot. I need a little bit more paint, so I'm just gonna lightly press it. Oh, that is a lot more than I wanted. Okay, I'll drag it down and then fill in all these little spots here. Just like that. Okay, that actually looks like it's just about even with the paint, so hopefully that dries nicely. And I'm literally just kind of tracing the edge around it. Oh, it's starting to kind of dry up as I'm doing it. It's getting a little bit stringy. So I really don't want to touch that anymore, actually, because as I was pressing it, the paint was drying. Oh, can't even see my hand. As I was pressing it, the paint was drying. I don't know if you could see in the video. And then as I was bringing it up, it was getting like stringy, like it was sticking to the paint pen. So I'll give you a closer look after I wipe this off real quick. Okay, so yeah, it's very visible from this angle. I promise it doesn't really. Let's see if this gives a better representation. So yeah, this, without that light reflecting off, this is a little bit better representation of what we're looking at here. Oh, and I also got it zoomed in, so let me zoom out. There we go. Okay. So you can tell that it's a little bit, it's coming close to even with the actual paint. It's still a little bit lower, so I'm gonna let that dry. And it probably will only need one more touch up, and then I'll hit it with the finishing pen. So we'll see how this works out. I'm gonna give it another like 15-20 minutes. All right, here we are 20 minutes later or so, getting ready to go for round 3. I'm gonna hit this with the alcohol again because I touched it with my finger earlier, trying to test if it was dry, which, you know, in hindsight, probably not the smartest thing. Hopefully this doesn't strip the paint off of me. I would hope it's not. It's automotive paint, but there's probably some professional watching this. It's like, oh my God, no. So I'm just gonna do light bit of alcohol and then take the dry side and wipe that off. Okay. Yep, no, didn't do anything, but now I know it's clean. Okay, so here we go. Round 3 with the pen, and I'm just gonna do the same exact thing. Already shook this, but I'm gonna shake it again. see if you can see from this angle. If I can zoom it in a little bit. Okay. And it does look a little bit better now that it's dry. So hopefully it continues to look good. And here we go. Just a light dab. Oh, that didn't even go inside the... That's not good. All right. There we go. I'm just dragging it around the same way I did before. Right around the edges. Trying to keep it even. It's getting stringy on me again, so I'm going to stop. That went outside of the actual chip. So I'm going to see if I can clean that up before it dries on the actual paint. Yeah, that actually kind of worked pretty well. You can see it came off on there. I just wanted to get on the edge because it went outside the dent or the chip, and it actually did clean off, so I'm very happy about that. And so far it's seeming like it's pretty even. I mean, this again, it's not gonna be professional grade because I've never done this before, but so far it's looking pretty good. So I'll give you the close-up view of what round 3 looks like. It's looking like I'm probably gonna have to do it one more time. Zoom out here. One time zoom. There we go. Okay. So there it is. I feel like it looks worse on the video than it does in real life. I mean, again, with as much as I love this car, I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out, but we'll really see once I get that finishing coat on it and polish it up a little bit. So we'll see. All right, so I went ahead and put one more coat on. I didn't film it because I'm like, how many times can you watch it, right? But I think that's about as good as it's gonna get as far as it being level with the paint. So, so that's a total of 5, and it's pretty even. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the clear coat on now. And I opened this over the sink. I'm gonna move this away from the car just in case it drips. But I opened this over the sink because in the video it like dripped on the guy. So I thought that the paint pen like that was anchored here and the tip of it was here, but it's the other way around. So it dips into this. So if you unscrew it and take it off, it comes out that way. All right. So, and it's pretty wet on there. So I'm gonna just try to dab it off, and you can see it's like very wet, and it's not very, there's like no stick in that. So I'm just gonna take that little bit and put it on there. We're gonna see how this goes. So I have no idea. Get this situated back where it was. All right, you can see the chip is right there. I'm just gonna lightly dab this on here. All right, you actually do kind of gotta press a little bit. All right, I'm gonna do my best to get it nice and even, so I'm taking kind of longer strokes than I probably need to. And it looks like it's drying pretty quickly. All right, and I'm gonna take this and clean up around these edges before that dries. Oh, that was not a good idea. All right, don't use the paper towel there. Yeah, wow, that dried really quickly. Ah, Jesus. All right, well, okay. Lesson learned there. That dries very quickly. I'm gonna go get some rubbing alcohol and see if I can hopefully try and get that off, and then try that again. All right, so I got the rubbing alcohol here. I'm just gonna try to, hopefully that'll come off. Put a pretty generous amount on there. All right, and that actually did come off. It came pretty much right off. Okay, that is very good news. Whew, all right. All right, let's try that again. So I didn't see in any of the videos directions on how to use this portion of the paint pen. So I will tell you that I'm gonna use a little bit more this time, because when I took it out, it looked like it was pretty soaked, which I mean it is, but then if you dab it off like I did, then when you apply it, it really, it didn't come off on the car very much. So this time, now that I have the rubbing alcohol out here, I'm gonna try and actually keep this thing pretty soaked and then dab it on there, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more even, because even before it was looking really rough and kind of streaky. So I'm just taking it straight out, and I'm just gonna dab it on there and see how this works. I'm just gonna kind of stroke it across. Oh yeah, that is a lot better. I went a little bit past so I'll try and make that a little bit more even and kind of blend it so that it's not streaky. So yeah, there we go. I'm gonna bring it across the bottom here too, and just nice even strokes so it doesn't bubble. All right, that actually does look a lot better than it did before. So I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna bring it down the other way, so I'm gonna dip it again so it's nice and thick on there. I'm gonna bring it this way this time. Nice even strokes there. Do my best to just keep that nice and flat and flush. Oh, it came off there a little bit. Okay. All right, and there it is, more or less the finished product. Take this off here so you can get a closer look. So, I mean, you could see it's not like, oh my God, you know, like those infomercials where it's gone, you know. But honestly, unless you're looking at it, I mean, you can hardly even tell. It is a pretty big difference, and you know, versus before when I was walking by and my eyes were drawn straight to it. Now when I walk up to it, I actually kind of have to search for it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, once I see it, I definitely see it. It's there, but you know, when you consider the alternative is spending a couple hundred. Sorry, last video got cut off, but yeah, when you consider the alternative is like spending a couple hundred to maybe upwards of $1,000, I would say that's pretty damn good, you know, given the alternative. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then also consider that it's still not completely dry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this sit overnight, and then I'll see what it looks like tomorrow. And then I also am getting the ceramic coating where they're gonna do paint corrections, stuff like that. So I think really in the long run, I think that's gonna turn out pretty good. So, you know, you look at it from there and you can't see it, whereas beforehand, you definitely would have seen that black speck. So, and even coming over here with the glare on it, I mean, you really can't see it at all from a distance. So unless you're literally right on top of it, looking right at it, I mean, like I said, I'm happy with it. So here it is a day later. Honestly, it really doesn't look any different, and I know that you can't really see it that much from this angle with the video and everything. But when you get a little bit closer, see, there it is right there. Probably the worst thing about it is that it actually does have texture to it when you run your finger across it. But again, I'm hoping that when I go in to do the ceramic coating that they're able to fix it a little bit better. But there it is, final product with the paint pen. So yeah.